Hi, and welcome to Cheese in Depth. I'm Michael Landis, and today we are talking with Alberto and John. And we're going to be talking about a couple things about Italian cheeses, but predominantly we're going to talk about the history and also the cheese itself, Pecorino Romano.
So provolone is a very typical cheeses of south of Italy, Naples, Sicily, Puglia, like Bari, the south of Italy. And this is the reason why my grandfather started with the provolone business. Provolone normally has two different type. The mild, dolce, we call dolce, mild, or picante, that is sharp. Auricchio, because he's leader. In Italy, we have over the 50%, 52% of the market. This is the Nielsen, you know, the Nielsen numbers that give us every month. So not our, is really the company that make the analysis of the market. We have more type of provolone, not only the two typical, that is the mild and the sharp, the picante, but we have also, we call young, that is little provolone, maximum 2 pounds, complete, so with rope and wax, that is very, in my opinion, very pretty because it's a complete provolone. That is, we call young, like Giovane in Italy, and it is a mild provolone age for a couple of months, and is different from the mild one. And then we have the Stravecchio. Stravecchio in English means extra age, like we have wine Stravecchio, we have liquor Stravecchio, and we have provolone Stravecchio. For make the consumer recognize, we make a black coat outside the Stravecchio, and it is age more than the other one. It is between 18 and 24 months, but the most important things, the rennet is different. So it is not only more age, but it starts Stravecchio, because it starts with a different rennet of the picante, and the picante is a different rennet for the dolce. And so any different kind of provolone has a different recipe and a different aging in our warehouse. Just to say something on provolone, I think the provolone is well known in the US market, but just to give you an idea, in my opinion, provolone is one of the most useful cheeses in the kitchen where you cook, because it's melty perfectly. So you can put provolone all over you want, and in really few seconds, 30 seconds, is melty perfectly. So you can use over a hamburger or over eggs, or like my mother do. My mother is 90 years old and she is still the boss of the company. That is the reality. She using pizza. So she mixed mozzarella and provolone because she said that if you use only mozzarella, it is too wet and the pasta of the pizza become too wet. So you can use provolone less because give you more tasting, and also is better because it's not so wet like mozzarella. So she mix, and sometimes she used mild provolone, but many times she used also picante provolone for have a nice tasting or something. So I repeat, provolone is really very, very useful all over. You can also, I can't say grating because it's not correct, but you can shred on pasta. Of course, some type of pasta. You couldn't put provolone over a risotto alla milanese, but it's perfect on a red sauce pasta or a Sicilian pasta where you want to give a little bit more tasting. So you can shred the provolone, the picante provolone, over your pasta, and you have a great, great pasta. Then there are three typical Italian pasta that you must use: Pecorino Romano Locatelli, or Pecorino Romano, but of course Locatelli. That is the carbonara, and the pesto is with Pecorino Romano.
So there are a number of provolone companies that make varying types of cheese, and not all certainly, but many are using a natural ingredient, but it's called lipase, and they add that in the cheese making process to give you that very, very heavy, in my opinion, somewhat off-putting, over piquant flavor that you can derive from that cheese at about 5 months or so. We never use lipase. Again, it's a natural ingredient, so there's nothing unnatural about it except you're making a flavor out of something that is not there by adding something to it. So for us to age 12, 18 months naturally and have a perfect cheese at the end, that's very, very important. And that goes back to proprietary rennet that's been in the family since 1877. So just a little something about it. Again, our cheeses are different. We are a big name, you know, but we are artisan cheesemakers, especially in the way we craft. And no, we don't make small batches, but we look after each batch as it's important.
So John, thank you, because I forgot to tell that we doesn't use lipase, because in my mind it's so far from our that I forgot to, but of course it's very important, because you can have a picante taste that is not really picante, it's something that burns your tongue, so it's not really the perfect way. You can use lipase, and in 4 or 5 months you should have a good picante provolone. We prefer to give the time, because we prefer to wait 18 months, 15 months, but that the picante tasting must coming out naturally, only with the time, we control in all our warehouse, we have a strictly control of humidity and of temperature, because the mix of these two important things make the cheese aging perfectly. So we have a humidity and a temperature that is controlled by the machinery, of course, but also by the people daily. We try to respect, we have a name, really. Sorry if I don't want to seem arrogance, but really Auricchio is the most famous brand in Provolone, and Locatelli the most famous brand in Pecorino. So of course, sometimes there are some production that is not perfect, because it's natural. Should be impossible not to have some problems. But whenever we found some cheeses that is not perfect, we take away the brand and we sell to unbranded, to people that reuse that. If they go out from our plant with Locatelli brand or with Auricchio brand, must be the first quality at all, because the name that we built in 145 years is very easy to destroy in 5 or also less. So also the control before going in the market is one of the most important points of our companies. Taleggio, like I told you before, probably is not so famous in US. Also, if I see that is increasing in the last 5 or 6 years, is, in my opinion, a great cheeses, completely different from Provolone and from Pecorino, because it's born and created in the north of Italy, close to the Milano area or the Swiss, just close to the border of France and Swiss. Is a semi-soft cheese, but with a very, very typical flavor that I love it, really love it. As a little ring, sometimes is orange, and it is good that be orange. I have some discussion with some customers that say, oh, is orange is not good. No, the Taleggio, if it is orange, the ring is the perfect Taleggio. And of course you can remove, because every consumer can decide what they want. But the particular of Taleggio that is a tasting that is really unique and particular. Remain soft, so you can also put on a sandwich on a whenever you want, is a table cheeses.
Great
with
cheese in the kitchen. It's a great cheese.
Exactly.
Very
exactly.
easy. You don't have to have an occasion. And the U.S. is very, very savvy to Taleggio. It's a great selling cheese here. It really is. So it's great. And our facility was the first to get the DOP for that cheese. So we are DOP #1 for Taleggio, which is a proud moment. And Casaviccia Via is a great company. It started out as a great company and remains that way. And we produce only a couple of cheeses there, the fresh mozzarella there, and one or two others, but all in the DOP category. So there you go.
And another things on the Taleggio that, of course, you know, the DOP give you also the rules of the wheels, not really wheels, because Taleggio is not a wheels, but you understand what I mean. So it's a 2 kilos, 4.5 pounds, and you must produce this type of cheeses. But then one time that is aged, you can of course cut and pack whenever you want. So I think we was the first company, now sometimes as following us, but we was the first company that's selling in US at 200 grams, so 7 ounce, I think, exact weight Taleggio, that is perfect for the shell, for the supermarket service shelf. And it is packed in a plastic, not really, that give more shell life and keep the flavor for more time. So you can find this little Taleggio in a perfect condition. And I repeat, is really the best for the shell life of this kind of cheese.
An important thing to note on this. So those 7-ounce Taleggio are not manufactured as 7-ounce Taleggio. They are manufactured as 4.4 pound square, like you're very familiar with if you're buying bulk Taleggio in your store now. They're produced that way, and they are cut from that piece. And that though that 7-ounce exact weight, 200 gram, also proudly carries the DOP as well. And there's a breathable outer barrier bag, which is easily removable. You can just put the date on it. The UPC is still on the package if you don't like that there. But for shipping and for the other purposes, it really does help in that cheese. And we feel that really offers your consumer a very, very consistent cheese. And we proudly have the 4.4 pound as well, and a 1.1. So we're very nimble with Taleggio.
I say before, is a natural color that become with aging the Taleggio, taking your mind that Taleggio normally has 3 month aging. And some people in Italy, not some, many people in Italy eat also the rind because it's natural. So they just take a knife, they just take very little outside, but just very little, and they eat the orange rind. So yeah, it's something that you can eat. Then of course it depends by the people, but it's perfectly edible.
All right. Okay, so before we get into the Pecorino Romano, we have a quick video that I'm going to show.
So first of all, you have seen in this video the wonderful of Sardinia. Is our Caribbean place, is one of the most beautiful area of Italy, and you can see in the video. But also in the video, you have seen what I told you before. Just also, if it is just a frame, I think that surely you have seen how many hand work is in the production. You see how many time, you see the hands of our cheesemaker, of our employee that cure, that following the process of the cheese. And also you see salt by hand. You see there are some frame where you see that the hands put the salt all over the Pecorino Locatelli. Just for curiosity, if someone have take note, there are at the end a frame with some black pepper. This is not the Pecorino Romano, of course. This is the Pepato Locatelli. Of course, it's Locatelli making the same plant, but it's a different cheeses and a different recipe. Is the black pepper that is put in the Pecorino cheese, and it is also, in my opinion, a great cheeses. It is 35 kilos wheel, and we can also cut in ambriola in what size you want.
Yeah, we have.
It's not, just to explain, if someone see the black, what it is the black is the pepper that we put in the Pepato, Locatelli Pepato.
You saw the ricotta salata being produced in the same plant because that's the byproduct of the curd from the pecorino, or the milk, I should say, rather than curd. Yeah, it's great to have a cheese that's iconic with a brand. There's probably nothing more recognizable than Locatelli for Pecorino Romano. Lots of us have been venturing into our parents' and grandparents' refrigerators in the U.S. for, growing up and what have you, and always thought the Locatelli. So at least in mine. So Locatelli is the most recognizable brand of real Italian cheese. You can find that there are people who will buy Pecorino Romano and buy Locatelli. It's really known in many places as a cheese unto itself. I think Alberto explained perfectly that hand salting makes this actually a pretty stand-up table cheese. It's a really nice flavor without being overwhelmingly salty. Certainly, is a great accompaniment for many great meals. Do you want to speak a little bit about the factories and the farmers that you guys work with for Macomer?
Yes. So the factory Macomer is there from I think the beginning of the Locatelli family production, so more than 100 and past year ago. Of course, also in this case, only the location is remain Macomer, that is in the middle of the Sardinia, and just for curiosity, is also the place where is the consortium of Pecorino Romano is located. Also the consortium in Macomer, because it's the middle of the production of the Sardinia. Of the Pecorino Romano, sorry. The shepherds is all over around the plant. So we have over 800 shepherds, not sheep, shepherds, because the production of milk from a sheep is very little. I give you in liters, but then you can make the calculation. A cows make more or less 30 liters of milk a day. A sheep's, if arrive at 3-4 liters, is already enough. So 1 gallon, I think, is already enough. So you need a lot of sheep to have the quantity of milk that we need. And another particular, so we have shepherds, we try, of course, to have the same shepherds for a long time. We have shepherds that give us the milk from 50, 30, 40 years. Also, if the agreement is on a year based, so 12 months, we try to have a long-term relationship with our shippers for two reasons. One, because of course it's creating also something between the company and the shippers, and also because if you know the quality of the milk that they give you, you have no to every time to make analysis to understand the percentage. The very important things to make a cheese, not only Locatelli Pecorino Romano, but any kind of cheese, is the percentage of fat and the percentage of proteins. Of course, there are no, it couldn't be, is not allowed to have any kind of antibiotic in the milk, and also the percentage of water, because, you know, if there are too much water, you pay water for milk. So it's better to have long relationship with the same shepherds, because you create a bionivic, I don't know if in English you say, a two-way relationship. One from the company to the shepherds, and one from the shepherds that trust in the company. And so this is more or less what we do. And the other particular is that the milk in Sardinia, not only for us, for all the Sardinia, is from December to beginning of July. And so you have to concentrate the production in these 7, maximum 8 months, because during the summertime, the sheep doesn't produce milk. One for the principle for the birth of the little how do you call in English the little baby of the sheep, the lamb, of the lamb. So the lamb normally is the burn of the lamb is normally concentrating January, February, March, and so you know that after the burn of the lamb, the milk is very, very a big quantity. Then in the summertime, more or less disappear. There are very, very few milk, and so also the consortium rules say that you can produce pecorino from November, but in reality nobody produces in November because there are no milk, to July 15. So this is the rules of the production. So we have a production that is concentrating 8 months, but all the other activities of the plant, like salt, like selection, like of course shipping the containers, is all over the year.
So we're also paying a premium for premium milk from the sheep.
Yes, we pay. This is a philosophy of Auricchio. So also in Provolone, and then of course we translate. We put the same when in 1997 we bought the Locatelli facility from Nestle. We prefer to give a premium in money, in cent for little, that means a lot of money, to our farmers of our shepherds if they give us a high quality milk. So there are an average of protein and fat, no antibiotic, and the right percentage of water. If you are over with protein and fat and lower with water, you have a premium. Even if you doesn't have a premium, if you have a bad milk, we refuse. We refuse for 3 times. After the 3 times, we interrupt the relations.
So I have to say I've enjoyed listening and understanding a little bit more about the details on each of the cheeses. I think it's really important that people understand what's gone through to be able to make this a very consistent and exceptional product. And I've been looking forward to being able to pair this. I decided that I would stay fairly traditional. You know, when you think about what a lot of people do with the Pecorino Romano is add a little bit of sweetness to it, a little bit of honey to offset a little bit, give it the contrast. So Perseverance Society produces a hot honey. And so I thought it'd be really fun to do a little something a little spicy with this. So I have that. And then another thing that I really love about the flavor characteristics that it picks up is the rosemary. So I have the Rustic Bakery, rosemary, and olive oil crackers. So I wanted to make it fairly simple, but also at the same time, I wanted to add in something a little more fun than just going traditional and just a little bit of honey on it. Now, for beverage wise, I've chosen to, a lot of times I do a brown ale. You know, you want to have that maltiness, but Fat Tire, New Belgium, has got so much maltiness to it, but it also has just a hint of hops to kind of give a little bit of a cleaning. So you get that salty, malty, you get the wonderful honey with the spiciness, and of course the rosemary. So it's this is actually almost a meal in itself. You know, kind of one of the fun things about that. So what do you guys do with it?
I eat it just like this.
I make the same of John. I eat like a cheese with a nice glass of red Tuscany wine or any other red wine. Or I repeat, like I said before, in some kind of pasta, I prefer Pecorino Romano Locatelli instead of Parmigiano. Not all, but some pasta ask for a Pecorino Romano Locatelli.
Yeah, I think your idea of honey is fabulous. I really like to work with that as well. I do like fig paste as well. Any of those things that are really kind of clingy that have a really nice full flavor like that. Although I have to try the spicy one. So that was really good. It's really good.
Well, you know, when you're handling honey, I have to tell you that I have Savannah bee honey and it has a pump to it and it works really, really well. But having the ability to be able to just completely control how much honey that you want to put on it, because it is hot. I mean, it is no kid's game. It really is a lot of jalapeno in there. So it makes it really interesting, but also makes it, gives it a little bit of spice. I've been using Pecorino Romano in my pastas and dishes. I honestly believe that grated Parmesan or grated Locatelli Pecorino Romano is additive to just about everything to give it salads across the board. And I use a little bit of grating just on there. I wouldn't say in replacement of salt, in accompaniment to salts.
Yeah, it's nice because you definitely get some body that goes along with it. So I really enjoy this. If I'm gonna broil fish, I kind of enjoy it like that. And I know sometimes if you ask certain people, putting cheese with fish is kind of this no-no. But this is now Locatelli is an ingredient. It's, you know, all kidding aside, it's a wonderful table cheese. But it's a step-up experience when you are adding it to a dish. So if I'm broiling fish, I like to mix that with maybe a little bit of lemon, a little bit of breadcrumbs, and put it on top of that. You put it over these nice, cool little potatoes that they have. You can actually sprinkle them over French fries and what have you. It's a very, very interesting dynamic that happens with that. And you know, there aren't very many cheeses that would hold up to a pepper honey. But you know that Locatelli is going to cut right through. And it's there in a pleasant way. It's not there to be off-putting or to be, oh my God, I just ate a salt lick. It's a nice little bump of pecan flavor.
And also, John, there are a very famous recipe in Italy, but I think also there, that is the meatball. Inside the meatball, you have to put, my mother say, a mix of Locatelli, Pecorino Romano, and Parmigiano Reggiano. To have the best meatball, you have to mix these two kind of cheeses. And also, we have the idea to prepare already. We call Sandy blend, exactly. Yes, Sandy blend is a mix of Parmigiano Reggiano, of course imported from Italy, and Locatelli Pecorino Romano, because it's typical to the meatball.
There you go.
Beauty of this is the sweetness of the sheep's milk, the buttery fat that you get from that, and it just brings out so much richness. And any one of the honeys work really well, but having it for recipes. So speaking of that, is that we have a cheese container.
There you go. Yeah, it's a nice little vessel for your grated Pecorino Romano Locatelli. Put that right in the refrigerator, and I guess you can get that through Michael. We'll be more than glad to send that along to you. So yeah.
One is filled, and we've already used it like 3 times. It's just grabbing it out of the refrigerator and giving it a little bit of shake, and then we add it on, put it back, and it stays really fresh because of the that nice little O-ring, that gasket on here.
Yeah, and by the way, so just another little comment about that. Never any additives, never any cellulose, never any natamycin. This is fresh grated Locatelli Pecorino Romano in every bag, in every cup, in every wedge. We never ever use any manufacturing aids. As a matter of fact,
Only cheeses.
That's right.
Only cheese, 100% cheese.
Yeah, we've had people that produce some of the equipment that we use that say this is the only plant we've been to where you just don't see other things that are there. And you're allowed to declare them, and we certainly understand that, but never in Locatelli, never in any of our grated cheeses. You know.
I have to say that when you sent me this bag, I thought, oh my God, I got a lot of supply. I'm already a quarter way through it. I will be done with this probably in about 10 days. So it might seem like there's a lot here, but it goes really fast.
Yeah, the first one's free.
And I really appreciate that.
Hey, just a little comment, by the way, just not to set anybody off. Sunday blend, we use Italian Parmesan. Not necessarily, we don't use Reggiano in that. We use Italian Parmesan and Locatelli.
Yeah. All right. So anything else you'd like to say before we conclude here?
Well, I hope you got something out of this. I appreciate you giving us the time in your workplace or in your living rooms, which may be your new workplace. But thank you for giving us the time and talk a little bit. I thank Alberto for being out there at 10 o'clock at night on a wonderful evening in Italy. And thank you very much for doing that. And Michael, thank you for inviting us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, and hoping to see you soon. That it means that everything is good.
There you go.
Absolutely. And again, I appreciate you sticking with us late at night and being available. Fantastic information, fantastic cheeses, and I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. And guys, be careful out there, and hopefully we'll see you sometime in 2021.
That's it. Be well, stay safe.
All right. You guys take care. All right.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.